It starts so quietly, you almost don't notice it. A trader sits at their desk, eyes fixed on the screen, candles flickering up and down like the heartbeat of the market. Numbers flash, tiny green and red pixels racing across the chart, promising fortune and disaster in equal measure. At first it looks simple. A few strategies learned from a course, a couple of YouTube tutorials about support and resistance. Maybe even a back-tested plan scribbled down on paper. Confidence builds. The trader tells themselves, this time I'm ready. This time I will stick to the plan. And then, without warning, the trap closes. By Friday afternoon, half the account is gone. The other half hangs in limbo, fragile, one bad decision away from extinction. Confusion sets in. How did this happen? The strategy was solid. The system was clear. So why did the account bleed out? The truth is harsh. Most traders do not fail because of bad setups, bad brokers, or even bad luck. They fail because of one silent assassin that lives inside their own mind. The number one mental mistake that destroys trading accounts: emotional decision-making. This is not a flashy mistake like choosing the wrong indicator or skipping a stop-loss out of ignorance. It is far more dangerous because it hides in plain sight. Emotional decision-making disguises itself as confidence, as intuition, even as gut instinct. It whispers that you know better than your rules. It seduces you into breaking the very boundaries you swore you would never cross. And every time you listen, it takes another piece of your capital. This mistake is not rare. It is universal. Every trader, from complete beginner to seasoned professional, faces it. The difference between those who survive and those who vanish is not intelligence or strategy. It is the ability to see the invisible and control it before it controls you. Let's put a face to this invisible killer. Meet Emma. She started with discipline, a $2,000 account, and a plan so simple it could fit on a sticky note. Risk no more than 2% per trade, buy at support, sell at resistance, always respect the stop-loss. For weeks, she executed flawlessly. Her account grew slowly but steadily. Confidence blossomed. Then came the day she saw what she called the perfect setup. The candles aligned, the volume confirmed. Her conviction was absolute. And in that moment, the rules no longer mattered. She told herself, I'll ignore the stop just this once. The market will reward me. 5 minutes later, the chart turned against her. The loss was manageable, but Emma didn't exit. Instead, she added to the trade, convinced she could recover. By the end of the day, half her account had vanished. She stared at the screen in disbelief. What went wrong? The answer was simple. She didn't lose to the market. She lost to her own emotions. Emma's story is not unique. John's journey tells the same tale from a different angle. He had a $5,000 account and a system that worked. One day, he was up $200 on a single trade. His plan said to take profit and move on, but greed whispered in his ear, don't close now. If you hold just a little longer, you'll make $1,000. That little longer became too long. The market reversed, erasing not just his profit, but plunging him into a loss. What hurt most wasn't the money. It was the realization that he had betrayed his own rules. Greed had promised him more and delivered nothing. And then there's Soraya. Her downfall wasn't greed or recklessness. It was hesitation. She would spot a perfect setup, the kind she had practiced dozens of times. But instead of acting, she froze. She waited for more confirmation. She second-guessed her own analysis. By the time she clicked buy, the price had already moved. Her entry was late, her stop wider, her risk heavier. And when the trade went against her, she blamed the system. In truth, the system hadn't failed. Her hesitation had 3 traders, 3 emotions, one common thread: discipline replaced by feeling. And once that substitution happens, the account is no longer guided by logic. It is driven by impulse. That is why emotional decision-making is the most lethal mistake in trading. It doesn't matter how sharp your strategy is. It doesn't matter how many hours you've studied. If you let your emotions make decisions for you, the outcome will always be the same: inconsistency, chaos, and eventual ruin. But why are emotions so powerful in trading? The answer lies in biology. When you open a trade and the price ticks against you, your brain interprets it as a threat. Adrenaline surges. Cortisol floods your body. Your heart pounds. Your palms sweat. Rational thinking is shoved aside as your ancient survival system takes over. To your brain, losing money feels like mortal danger. That's why fear pushes traders to exit too early, abandoning solid setups out of panic. And the cruel irony, fear exists to protect you in real life, but in trading it sabotages you. Greed is the other side of the coin. Where fear tells you to get out, greed seduces you to stay in. It convinces you to chase trades that don't fit your plan. It whispers promises of quick riches, even when the probabilities are stacked against you. Hope is just as dangerous. It tells you that a losing trade will surely bounce back. It convinces you to hold, to wait, to pray long, after the evidence says otherwise. Revenge trading is worse. After a loss, you feel the sting of humiliation. The market becomes an enemy you must conquer. You double your lot size. You rush into trades without setups, and in minutes you lose more than you did all week. Overconfidence, though, is the most subtle. After a string of wins, discipline feels unnecessary. Rules become optional. You skip the checklist, increase risk, and dismiss caution, and then the market humbles you in a single brutal swing. All of these emotions share one fatal quality. They override your plan. They make you believe that this time is different, that the rules don't apply, that you know better. And that lie is what drains accounts faster than any bad strategy ever could. The first step to fighting back is awareness. You cannot defeat what you refuse to name. Every time you enter a trade out of fear, greed, hope, revenge, or arrogance, you must be able to stop and say, "This is not my system speaking, this is my emotion." Awareness alone won't save you, but it is the foundation. Once you see the pattern, you can build defenses against it. That's why traders who survive don't just have strategies. They have systems for their minds. They use pre-commitment, defining entry, exit, and risk before the trade, treating it like a written contract with themselves. They journal not just numbers, but emotions, recording what they felt before, during, and after each trade. Over time, they recognize patterns. They know when fear whispers loudest, when greed blinds them, when hesitation paralyzes them, and with that knowledge, they build rituals to counteract it. But here's the cliffhanger. Everything you've heard so far is only the diagnosis. You now know the disease. What you don't yet have is the cure. In part 2, you will learn the exact step-by-step framework, the surgeon's protocol, a ritual designed to cut emotional mistakes at the root before they hijack your trades. You will discover the 5-second checklist that can stop hesitation, greed, and revenge in their tracks. And you will see how traders like Emma, John, and Soraya could have avoided disaster by using these exact tools. Because here is the truth. The market doesn't destroy accounts. Traders do. And until you build a system stronger than your emotions, you will always be vulnerable. But once you do, you flip the game. The invisible enemy loses its grip. You begin trading not from fear or hope, but from clarity, discipline, and control. Trading is often described as a battle against the market, but the real battle is internal. You are not fighting charts, brokers, or indicators. You are fighting impulses that rise inside you at the worst possible moment. That's why survival requires more than knowledge. It requires a framework, a ritual so strong that when the storm of emotion arrives, you have no choice but to follow the system. Professionals know this. They don't rely on willpower, they rely on procedure. That procedure is what I call the surgeon's protocol. Think of a surgeon about to operate. The stakes are life and death. The pressure is overwhelming. But the surgeon does not trust their gut when the room tightens. They run through a checklist. They confirm each step aloud. They remove improvisation and replace it with precision. You must approach trading the same way. Before, during, and after each trade, you use the surgeon's protocol to cut out emotional mistakes before they infect your process. Here's how it works. The protocol is a script of 10 questions you speak out loud every single time. What is my exact objective trigger for entry? Candle, level, or timing must be visible and undeniable. Where is this trade invalidated? Stop loss defined by the chart, not by comfort. What is my risk size in dollars and my position size in units? No guessing, no adjusting mid-trade. Is this trade continuation or reversal? No ambiguity. Do I have at least 3 independent reasons for this entry? If not, cancel. What is the worst-case scenario in the next 60 seconds? Pre-mortem visualization of failure plus reaction plan. If I lose, what will I not do? No revenge trades, no doubling risk. How will I manage the trade actively? Partial. Exits, break-even trailing rules. What is my current state? No trading if tired, angry, or distracted. Am I focusing on process over outcome? If not, cancel. When you run this aloud, you accomplish 2 things. First, you occupy your mental bandwidth with objectivity, leaving less room for fear and greed. Second, you externalize your plan, making it harder to betray yourself in silence, because that's how emotional mistakes thrive, in the privacy of unspoken thought. By forcing yourself to say it, you make emotion face reality. Now let's add a second layer of defense, the 5-second checklist. Emotions work in milliseconds. One glance at a candle spiking against you, and your finger is already moving toward the mouse. You need a break. The 5-second checklist is that break. Anytime you feel the urge to act outside your plan, move a stop, enter early, hold too long, you count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. During that countdown, you answer 3 questions. Out loud, what in my plan authorizes this action? What in the chart invalidates this action? Am I in danger or just uncomfortable? If the answer is just uncomfortable, you do nothing. This rule rewires your brain. It teaches you that discomfort is not danger. It creates a pause long enough for logic to return before impulse ruins you. It also solves the opposite problem, hesitation. When your plan says enter and you freeze, the same 5-second rule forces action. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Click. You stop giving your brain time to invent stories. You execute mechanically. That's how consistency is born. But what about revenge? The most dangerous emotion of all. After a loss, the urge to strike back is overwhelming. You feel insulted, humiliated, cheated. The brain screams, "Get it back now." If you obey, you trade bigger, faster, and sloppier. And one impulsive revenge trade can erase weeks of careful progress. The antidote is quarantine. After every stop loss, you activate a 15-minute timer. No trades allowed. Stand up, drink water, write 3 sentences in your journal. What hurt? What impulse rose? What rule protected you or failed you? This pause resets the body's chemistry. Cortisol begins to drop. Rationality returns. The second layer of the revenge antidote is role separation. You are both the trader and the manager of the trader. So after a loss, you write a short letter to yourself as the manager. Trader, your job is not to recover money. Your job is to execute probability. The market does not owe you. The next opportunity will be treated as new, not as payback. Yes, it feels strange. Yes, it works. Because emotion is narrative, and you defeat it by writing a stronger narrative. Now let's talk about overconfidence, the subtle poison. It doesn't feel destructive at first. It feels good. After a streak of wins, you feel invincible. You believe you've figured it out. You start bending rules, increasing size, skipping stops. And then, inevitably, the market humbles you. How do you prevent it? With governance rules. First, a daily profit cap. Once you hit it, you stop. Why? Because the peak of confidence is also the peak of vulnerability. Second, the forbidden trade rule. After 3 consecutive wins, the next trade is automatically skipped, no matter how good it looks. This proves to yourself that you are in control, not your ego. Third, you audit every win. If a winning trade broke rules, you classify it as a loss. You do not celebrate profit from mistakes. This reprograms your brain. Money earned through error is not victory, it is poison. To solidify this, add the pre-mortem exercise. Before every entry, visualize failure. Imagine the candle moving sharply against you. Picture the fake breakout. Then write the reaction: if X happens, I will do Y. This is not pessimism. It is preparation. Professionals do not improvise in chaos. They rehearse responses before chaos arrives. At this point, you might be thinking, this all sounds mechanical, maybe even restrictive. Isn't trading supposed to be about intuition and freedom? No. That is the lie emotions tell you. Intuition is valuable only after thousands of disciplined reps. Until then, intuition is just impulse in disguise. Freedom is not doing whatever you feel. Freedom is being protected from your worst urges by rules you wrote in advance. Let's bring this to life with a story. Alex was a trader I worked with who struggled with fear and revenge trading. His account swung wildly, up 20%, down 15%, up 10%, down 25%. He felt trapped in chaos. We introduced the surgeon's protocol, the 5-second checklist, and the quarantine rule. The transformation was dramatic. His trades no longer spiraled after losses. He stopped doubling down. He began logging his emotions and spotting patterns. Within 3 months, his equity curve stabilized, not because the market changed, but because he did. This is the essence of emotional mastery, not eliminating feelings, but channeling them. Fear can be useful if it reminds you to double-check your plan. Excitement can be fuel if it doesn't push you into recklessness. Even greed can motivate discipline if you redefine more as more consistent execution. Emotions are signals. They become enemies only when you let them drive. But the battle doesn't end here. Even with protocols, even with rituals, another enemy lurks deeper, one so dangerous it has destroyed more accounts than fear, greed, and revenge combined. It's the illusion of control. The belief that you can bend the market to your will, that your analysis is strong enough to remove uncertainty, that if you just stay in long enough, the market will reward you. This belief feels empowering, but it is lethal. In part 3, we will confront this illusion head-on. You will learn why randomness is not your enemy, but your reality. You will see how professional traders survive not by predicting every move, but by becoming the house, playing probabilities across hundreds of trades, never tying their identity to one outcome. And you will discover the final ritual, a daily closing routine that shuts down emotional loops before they spiral into self-sabotage. Because here's the ultimate truth: strategies fail when minds collapse. And minds collapse when they try to control the uncontrollable. In the next chapter, you'll learn how to let go of that illusion and build the mindset that makes survival and consistent profit inevitable. By now, you understand that fear, greed, hope, revenge, and overconfidence are the emotions that sabotage your trades. You've seen the surgeon's protocol, the 5-second checklist. and the quarantine rule that protect you from impulsive revenge and reckless overconfidence. But beneath all of these lies, a deeper enemy. The most dangerous mistake is not fear or greed by themselves. It is the belief that you can control what cannot be controlled. The most destructive force in trading is the illusion of control. This illusion is seductive. It tells you, if I study harder, if I add more indicators, if I tweak my system enough, I can predict everything. It makes you believe that if you just hold long enough, the market will come back. It convinces you that one more adjustment, one more trade, one more push will bend the chaos to your will. It feels like persistence. It feels like strength. But in reality, it is gambling disguised as discipline. Think about a trader holding a losing position. They tell themselves, if I just give it more room, it will bounce. They move the stop once, then again, then remove it entirely. Each decision feels logical in the moment, but step by step they have replaced discipline with delusion. Sometimes, by pure chance, the market does bounce and they escape with a win. That win feels like genius, but it's not. It's poison. The brain just got rewarded for breaking the rules. The next time, the same behavior appears, bigger, faster, more reckless. Until one day, the market doesn't bounce, and the account explodes. The illusion of control doesn't only show up in losses, it also shows up in wins. A trader catches a strong move, up 3 times their risk. The plan says to take profit, but ego whispers, this is the one. Hold longer, double your money. They imagine predicting the next candle, as if the market owes them more. Then the reversal hits. Profit evaporates. Sometimes it flips into loss. All because they believed they could control what was never theirs to control. This is why professional traders measure success differently. The amateur asks, how much money did I make? The professional asks, did I execute correctly? A losing trade that followed the rules is a win in their book. A winning trade that broke rules is a loss, because they know that in the long run, process creates results. The market is chaos. The only thing you control is how you respond. And here is the paradox most traders never accept. Randomness is not your enemy. It is the environment you must master. Every chart is filled with noise. Every strategy has losing streaks. Every edge fails sometimes, but the losing trader resists this truth. They crave certainty. They pile on indicators, looking for the magic formula that eliminates uncertainty. They tell themselves, if I confirm with enough signals, I'll never be wrong. But no signal removes randomness. The best you can ever get is probability. Look at casinos. They don't know which spin of the roulette wheel will land on red or black. Each outcome is random. But across thousands of spins, their edge guarantees profit. That's why the casino always wins. Trading works the same way. You don't need to win the next trade. You need to let your edge play out over hundreds of trades. But most traders sabotage themselves because they can't handle randomness. They overreact to short-term outcomes. A streak of losses convinces them the system is broken. A streak of wins convinces them they are invincible. Both are illusions born from the refusal to accept randomness. This refusal feeds the most destructive pattern of all, the spiral effect. At first, the emotional mistake is occasional. You move a stop once, you chase a trade once, but repetition hardens into habit. Eventually, the mistake becomes your default. Every trade is tinted with fear, ego, or the desperate need to be right. You log in each morning already determined to recover yesterday's loss. You place trades not because the chart says so, but because your emotions demand it. At this stage, you are no longer trading the market. You are trading your own unresolved emotions. And the spiral feeds on itself. The spiral is dangerous because it feels normal. You don't even see it as a mistake anymore. It feels like reality. You start working harder, staring at screens longer, adding more indicators, increasing size, thinking you are being responsible. But in truth, you are sinking deeper. Like quicksand, the harder you fight, the deeper you fall. You tell yourself you'll stop after one more trade, but the spiral whispers, "Not yet, just one more," and soon the account is gone. Breaking the spiral doesn't come from knowledge. Most traders already know what to do. Cut losses, stick to risk, avoid revenge. The spiral persists not because of ignorance, but because of denial. Traders don't admit to themselves that they are the cause. They hide losses. They justify mistakes. They live in silence because admitting the truth feels worse than losing money. But that silence is the fuel that keeps the spiral alive. So how do you break it? With awareness and ritual. You stop pretending emotions are facts. You learn to separate what you feel from what is real. That is the hardest skill in trading, harder than any strategy. It means naming the emotion the moment it rises. This is fear. This is greed. This is revenge. Naming it removes its disguise. It becomes visible and therefore beatable. Then you follow ritual, pre-commitment, surgeon's protocol, 5-second checklist, quarantine, journaling, and daily audit. You cut the spiral at its roots by replacing emotion with procedure. But there is one final weapon, the daily closing. Ritual? At the end of each session, you run through 5 steps. Audit every trade. Did I follow risk? Did I respect stops? Did I break rules? Classify results. Correct win, correct loss, incorrect loss. Write 1-sentence lesson for each trade. Not the result, the behavior. Physically close the platform. Step away. Signal to your brain that the day is done. Log the day without judgment. Tomorrow is new. This ritual prevents emotional residue from following you into the next day. It breaks the spiral by closing the loop. Without it, traders carry wounds forward. With it, they reset. And when storms come, losing streaks, emotional crashes, chaos in the market, you activate storm mode. Risk is cut in half. Only your A-plus setups are allowed. You extend the quarantine to 20 minutes after losses. You ban P&L checks mid-trade. Why? Because when emotions are strongest, your system must be strongest. Storm mode keeps you alive until the storm passes. And survival is the only game that matters. Here is the ultimate truth. The market doesn't destroy traders. Traders destroy themselves. The spiral is not an external force. It is your own mind turned against you. But once you see it, once you name it, you can stop it. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to follow ritual when emotions rise. In the end, trading is simple but not easy. The rules are clear. Cut losses fast. Let winners run. Respect risk. What makes it hard is not the market. It is your brain. The number one mistake that kills trading accounts is emotional decision-making. Fear, greed, revenge, hesitation, and overconfidence, compounded by the illusion of control and denial of randomness. But once you accept randomness, once you surrender the illusion of control, once you build rituals stronger than your impulses, everything changes. You stop reacting to the market emotionally. You start trading it mechanically, objectively, consistently. The difference between amateurs and professionals is not who has the better strategy, it's who can survive their own mind the longest. Professionals know that one trade means nothing. They don't try to be right. They try to be consistent. They don't fight randomness. They embrace it. They don't spiral. They reset. And because of that, they thrive where others self-destruct. So here is your final challenge. Stop asking, how can I win this trade? Start asking, how can I execute my plan flawlessly, regardless of outcome? That shift in mindset is the bridge. Between blowing accounts and building wealth, the market will always test you. It will expose every weakness. But the deadliest weakness of all is inside you. Master your mind, and you master the game. Ignore it, and no strategy, no indicator, no secret system will save you. If this resonated with you, it's time to reflect. Which emotion costs you the most in trading? Fear, greed, or the desperate need to be right? Be honest, share it in the comments, because naming it is the first step to defeating it. And once you name it, you can build the ritual that will finally set you free.